All right, now we're waiting as on this pre-winner-take-all battle of states tomorrow, including Michigan. We're looking at John Kasich. He is campaigning, hoping that some momentum he's been seeing in some of the late-ending polls in Michigan will translate into winning numbers for him in Ohio, winner-take-all state on the 15th. Ahead of that, we got Julie Roginsky here. We've also got Ron Christie of Bush 43 fame. He is backing Governor Kasich. You know, you've heard the math with him, Ron, that it's going to be tough for him unless he wins Ohio. He's even said that if he doesn't, he's out. But we've not heard Marco Rubio say that about Florida. What do you think of that?
Well, good afternoon, Neil. I think that certainly Governor Kasich has a tough road ahead of him. He's going to have to win Ohio. He's going to have to do very well in Michigan tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens in Mississippi. But the thing I would stress here is that Donald Trump still doesn't have a lock on this thing yet. People think that he does. 1,237 delegates is still a long march for him. And if Kasich and Rubio win their respective states, Neil, he'd have to win 69% of the remaining elections that are upcoming. So we still have a lot of road ahead of us.
Yeah, I mean, from the very beginning, I said mathematically it was tough for anyone to pull this off. But the argument, Julie, is that if others drop off, it actually does become favorable to Donald Trump in that environment because a divided field holds him back. What do you think?
Well, look, I think right now the rest of the field is playing for some weird Hail Mary delegate fight at the convention, which makes really no sense to me. You have Kasich coming out today and saying that he sees a pathway for himself to the nomination. It's called being anointed at the convention because delegates are somehow going to rise up against Donald Trump and anoint him. You know, that to me, that doesn't sound to me like a very well thought out plan.
Well, if you think about what he's saying, if he fails to get the 1,237 delegates in a first ballot, all bets are off for a second one.
I agree, but why would people support him if he's coming in fourth out of a field of four? I mean, you know, right now Rubio and he are tied for last place almost. Rubio's doing a little better.
You know, you're right. I mean, mathematically now it looks dicey, but I guess the feeling is it's open season if you get to a second ballot.
That sounds like a Hail Mary to me, my friend. And we're talking about Peyton Manning. He knows a little bit about Hail Marys.
I got it. That's a football reference.
Oh, yeah. It's the only one I know.
I know. Okay, go ahead. Ron, what do you make of that?
Well, I knew Julie had to slip in a Peyton reference. We had to. Look, I think Governor Kasich's strategy here, obviously I worked for him for 8 years and I support what he's trying to do. Once you get to the convention floor, all bets are off, but I just think it's a bad move for the party if we go in and have a contested convention. If you look at 64, if you look at 68 and 72, the Republicans were split back in 64 and we lost, and the Democrats were split, and of course we got 2 terms of Richard Nixon before he resigned. Let's have a unified party.
But parties have been split before. They were split with Garfield. He got elected. They were split on the first ballot in 1860, because I covered that one, and Abraham Lincoln won.
I was going to say you were there.
I'm very old. But my point is, it's not always a death knell for your party, right?
Well,
if you're going back to Garfield and you're going back to Lincoln, you know, we might want to rethink how campaigns are run, at least in the 21st century.
It wasn't very good for Democrats in 68. You're right about that. It wasn't very good for Republicans in 76. You're right about that, Ron. I guess what I'm saying is, if you had to handicap it today, Julie, you seem to think that Trump would take it, as things stand now, on a first ballot.
Trump or Cruz. It's going to be one of the two. I can't see a brokered convention. We talk about this every time.
What do you think?
I think Julie's right. Look, the lead that Donald Trump has over Cruz is only 87 delegates right now. I think those two are probably going to duke it out for 1 and 2 for the nomination.
All right, guys.